Welcome back to Everyday Eats with Michelle. Today we are going to do a little experiment, a little sous vide versus oven roasted turkey breast. Now I've used the sous vide in the past to make steaks primarily, and they come out really moist, really tender, perfect medium rare every time. I'm not saying you should try to sous vide an entire Thanksgiving turkey, but I want to see, is it going to come out more moist and tender than an oven roasted? I don't know. Let's find out. First thing we're going to need to do is get our sous vide ready. So I've got it filled about 3/4 of the way with the water, just so I have enough to float in my turkey. We're going to set it to 145 degrees. Just let that go. It'll let you know when it's done. And then our turkey breast. Mine is about 5.4 ounces according to the package. What we're going to need to do is remove one of the breasts, because I'm going to use one breast for sous vide, one breast for oven roast, so I'm going to leave it on the bone. The big challenge is going to be, well, for one, keeping the cats off the counter, and two, removing the turkey breast in one nice whole piece. I don't typically debone anything. That's not something I normally do. I have cooked a turkey in the past before and just carve it up like normal. So this will be interesting. So from what I've read, you're supposed to find the breastbone and then use that as your guide to cut the breast off in one nice big gorgeous piece. Can't guarantee that's going to happen, but we're going to try to find the bone and see what happens. And realistically, I'm filming this just for your amusement because I can't guarantee how this is going to turn out. Totally fine. So I found the bone. We're going to start cutting. Make sure you're slicing through all the way from top to bottom, so you're going to get it in hopefully one big piece with as little mangling as possible. And then as best you can, follow that bone back along the turkey breast. This is working reasonably well so far. I haven't completely destroyed it. It all seems to kind of be in one big piece. I feel like I'm leaving a whole lot of meat behind, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to be that picky. So we're just going to keep following the bone, and there's Churchy again, but my hands are full of turkey, so I can't really do a whole lot about that right now. Keep following that bone down and along, but make sure you're slicing back all the way so you're getting one big piece. You could realistically ask your butcher to do this, I guess. They might look at you a little weird because you only want one side removed, but it might save you a whole lot of time and effort and stress, I guess. I don't know. But for right now, that seems to have worked reasonably well. I still got a bunch of turkey left on that side, but again, I don't really care. I'm still gonna roast it. It's still gonna work. Not that worried it's not gonna get wasted. Okay, but this turned out pretty good. It's a little bit choppy, not a big deal. I will never again make fun of the people on MasterChef when they have trouble deboning things. So we're gonna get Churchy off the counter and we're gonna continue on. Now I'm doing two different preparations. So the one I'm gonna roast in the oven, I'm gonna set that off to the side, and let's focus our attention on the breast that we're gonna do in the sous vide. Now when you cook it in the sous vide, you're not gonna get a crispy skin. It's just not gonna happen. I'm not going to take the time to try to pan sear it later to crisp up the skin. So we're just going to go ahead and remove it, and then we're going to try to crisp it up in the oven. I guess it's a secondary experiment. So the way that I'm trying to remove the skin this way first is not really working too well. But I did find that if I pull up and back on the skin and kind of shave it with a knife, I guess you would call it, it peeled off a whole lot easier. So maybe give that a try from the start instead of doing my funky little method. We'll try to get this off in one nice big piece. Realistically, if it comes off in two pieces, not the end of the world. We'll still stick it in the oven. We'll still try to get it crisped up. So there we go. I've got that came out pretty good. A nice big piece of turkey breast. I'm enjoying this so far. All right, so for seasoning, a little bit of salt, a little bit of freshly cracked black pepper. That is all we're gonna do to our sous vide turkey. Okay, I'm not gonna mess too much with the flavoring because I don't know how this is gonna work out in general because I've never done it. So I'm gonna go basic. Okay, with the steaks in the past, we've added butter to it, and it's definitely affected the flavor in a good way, but it's also affected the texture. So a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, call it a day. And then we're gonna stick that in a vacuum seal bag. I've either got really large bags or smallish bags, so I had to go with a really large bag. Get that as far down in the packet as you can, squeeze out some of the air, and then what I think we're gonna have to do is cut off some of the excess bag from the top. Not a big deal. So then we're gonna load this into our vacuum sealer. Mine is a Food Saver brand. I've had this thing for about 10 years now. Chris actually got it for me for our first Christmas together when we started dating. His roommate thought he was a little crazy, but whatever. I've used it a lot since, so it was a really good idea. So we're going to set it to the moist setting and then click vacuum and seal. It's going to suck all the air out and it's going to seal it into a nice little pouch. If you don't have a vacuum sealer, we'll put a link down below. It probably won't be for the same model because I don't know if they still make it because again, it's been 10 years. But once this is all done, you're going to see we have a nice, beautiful packet of turkey ready to go in our sous vide. So our sous vide is at 145 degrees. I don't think I'm going to need the rack today. I've only got the one packet, so I think I'm actually going to take this out. And then you could buy some clips so you could clip it to the side. I like to just use the weight of the lid to hold it in there. It's perfectly fine. That way it's not just resting on the bottom and making sure that the water is circulating all around the meat. And I know a lot of people are probably freaking out a little bit. Like, why is it only 145 degrees? I'm supposed to cook turkey to 165 degrees. Well, I relied on the fine people at SeriousEats.com who have lots of time and lots of resources to test all kinds of methods for cooking things. And they have come up with 145 degrees is the perfect sous vide temperature. We're gonna let this go for 2.5 hours. It's not gonna have any pink. It's supposedly gonna come out really moist and tender. So I guess all there is to do is get this nice and sealed up, and then we're gonna let that go for 2.5 hours. While this is hanging out, we're gonna go back and check on that turkey skin that's all ready to go. We're gonna put it on a rimmed baking sheet, a little bit of parchment paper. Helps with the cleanup. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and then we're gonna cover that with another layer of parchment paper. Squeeze out as much air as you can. Again, this is a little technique that I got from the Serious Eats people. Check them out, they are fantastic. And we're gonna cover this with another baking sheet, and we're gonna pop that into the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. I usually check it at the 10-minute mark. I figure just to be safe, make sure I don't absolutely incinerate the skin. I don't generally eat the skin, but some people do, so we'll do this for you. While that crisps up, we're gonna take a look at our turkey breast that we're gonna shove in the oven. I've done a little bit of melted butter. I've brushed that all over every surface. And now we're just gonna do a little bit of sea salt and freshly cracked black pepper. Why did I put butter on it? I didn't do it to the sous vide version. Well, we know that the butter is gonna help crisp up that skin, okay, as it roasts. It's also gonna help prevent it from drying out too much. Not gonna add a ton of flavor, but it is gonna help the skin. It's gonna help a little bit of moisture. So make sure you salt and pepper everywhere, even down inside. Okay, get it all done. Notice how I've now using a paper towel with the paper mill. That's because my hands are now coated in turkey and butter and I'm trying not to, you know, completely sludge up my pepper mill. All right, next step, stuff it with some stuffing. Does not matter what stuffing you choose to throw in this turkey, do whatever you like. Okay, mine is just a generic bag of stuffing that you can get at the store. It's how my mom used to do it. It's very nostalgic for me. A little bit of turkey stock, a little bit of butter. Gets it nice and moist, and we'll stuff it in there as much as we can. You're probably not going to be able to fit it all, depending upon how much you make. But that's okay. It'll be fine, because we have a way to make it so that our extra stuffing that's hanging out on the side of the pan does not get all charred and burned. Okay, we're just going to take a sheet of aluminum foil, kind of wrap it around the stuffing. It's going to protect it, it's going to keep it moist, it's going to keep it from burning. And then we're going to shove this in a 450-degree oven for 15 minutes. Okay, then we're going to reduce the temperature to 350 degrees and let it go for another hour, hour and 15 minutes. I checked it at the hour mark and it was only 133 degrees. So I let it go for a few more minutes, and well, you know, 5 minutes later, 7 minutes later, it was 195. So we'll see what happens. All right, now to that turkey skin. Let's see how this turned out. Okay, we shrunk a little bit in size, to be expected. It looks crispy. I know you can't hear this, but we're going to do a little finger tap test. And that sounds crispy. All right, and I guess we'll taste test. I'm not a big fan. Yep, still not a fan of turkey skin. All right, that's fine, because I think I know someone who is. This is Charlie. He's been stalking me for this for a very long time today, so I'll give him a little treat. Seems to like it, so I think we're gonna save that turkey skin and give that to the kitties for a little treat for dinner tonight, because he is absolutely hoovering this up. Okay, so to move on, our oven roasted turkey is out, ready to go. Our skin got nice and golden brown. Our stuffing was saved from burning from the foil. All we gotta do now is pull that turkey out of the sous vide and slice it up and do a little taste test. So let's see. On the left is our sous vide turkey, not a lot of color, to be expected, not a big deal. And on the right is our oven roasted turkey. All right, let's try this. It feels really tender, feels really moist, is pulling apart ridiculously easy. This is giving me hope that this is gonna be yummy. So I guess all we gotta do is taste this now, see what happens. Yep, really moist, really tender, a mild turkey flavor, not overpowering. Still get a little of that salt and pepper in the background, it's very nice. Now for the oven roasted turkey. I don't know if you can tell, but it actually is glistening. It looks really moist. Let's zoom in just a tiny little bit maybe. Maybe you can see it a little bit better. It definitely gives me hope that it's gonna be moist, even though it went to 195, so I went a little bit over. And there's Loki Cat. He is not normally a counter surfer, but he does love his turkey. So I guess I can't get too mad at him that he wanted to come up and get a closer look. But we are gonna get him off that counter so that we can continue on. All right, let's taste this turkey. So it doesn't break apart quite as easily as the sous vide turkey. Okay, it's not quite as moist, not as tender as the sous vide, which I guess could also be due to me overcooking it just a little bit. Definitely a stronger turkey flavor. So I think the clear winner for this particular experiment is gonna be our sous vide turkey breast. It is definitely more moist, more tender, has a milder flavor to it. I even had Chris blind taste test. I just handed him 2 pieces of turkey, asked him which one he liked better. He picked the sous vide as well. So I don't know, give it a shot. Which way do you prefer? Let us know down in the comments. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see you next week.